departments through this bill?
No, we just want to ask them to please take a look at this and.
Well, can you ask them without bringing a bill?
Some of the sheriffs are not. They're refusing to sign off, and they're doing it by not giving response.
Okay, well, evidently that must be a good reason. I think it's I think it's a bad bill, and you certainly don't have my support on this one. This is a bad one because I think you're trying to tell them what to do, and you're not going to let them tell you, Ivey, Representative Ivey, what to do.
They
that's
told
not
me to
fair.
step out of the
Members,
car
I just want to remind everyone of the 5-minute rule, and Mr. Honore also still has a question.
They told me to step out of my vehicle about a week ago when they got pulled over.
Must have been a good reason.
And I did what they told me to do.
At the end of the day, it must have been a good reason.
I have to do that.
You was doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Representative Norton. Representative Honore.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Representative Ivey, the Constitution of Louisiana says the sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer.
Correct.
And you keep saying the chief law enforcement officer or some other. He is the chief law enforcement officer in each parish. And it appears that nowadays we elect the people the sheriff just like people elect you. You're going to tell the sheriff what they need to do, who they need to issue permits to. And it appears like we want to take this thing in our own hand and just go out and tell the chief law enforcement officer what he can and can't do. And the gentleman with the red jacket firearms, he said he can't sell across parish lines because the sheriff said not in my. I think he has the right to say that. But it wasn't the sheriff, I'm assuming, that stopped you the other night. It was a deputy sheriff, not the sheriff.
Correct.
But I think it's and I'm opposed to your bill for that reason. We elect the sheriff throughout the state, and we turn around and tell him you better sign this or you got to sign that off. I can't do business.
Let me ask you this question, okay? And I'm not meaning to sound ugly, just a fact. What if you had a sheriff, okay, who allowed everybody but minorities to purchase these items? Would you have a problem with that?
That would be unconstitutional.
It wouldn't be. They do it. They can do it right now under the law. They can just say, "I'm not going to process the application." So what I'm trying to do is create a fair process for everybody. If someone is not legally allowed to, maybe they recently committed a crime. Okay, so guess what? There's reason the sheriff needs to put on there. Hey, look, we got a problem with this guy, and this is why he's been in and out of jail. We've arrested him several times. Okay, that's what it's for. But guess what? You know what it doesn't allow for? It does allow for racial discrimination and any other form of discrimination. I'm telling you, some sheriffs, they will sign off for their friends, their political contributors, but maybe not other people. Okay. It's discrimination on every possible level, and this eliminates the possibility of all discrimination. That's why I think this is a good bill, Ms. Norton, and why it's a fair process.
Well, I don't think it's a civil rights bill, what we're talking about.
I'm not saying civil rights. I'm just saying that it happens. But we all live in a real world, and this happens.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Representative Honore. Representative Burrell.
Yeah, this is an interesting bill here. Madam Chair, I just want to know at what point are we going to hear the sheriffs?
I'm ready to bring him up.
Okay, I am too.
Mike, you want to speak? I also have the Louisiana Association of Chiefs of Police also against, but they do not wish to speak. And I also have Pete Adams with the Louisiana District Attorneys Association also in opposition. It says that Pete does not want to speak, though. So, Mike, it's on you.
Madam Chair, members, my name is Mike Granazza, Executive Director of Louisiana Sheriff's Association. This really is a complex matter. I'll try to be as brief as possible, and I hope that you allow me the time to fully explain the matter. First of all, law enforcement certification on the form means, and I'm going to read from the Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco's form itself. It says the chief law enforcement officer is considered to be the chief of police for the transferee's city or town of residence, the sheriff for the transferee's county of residence, the head of the state police for the transferee's state of residence, a state or local district attorney, or prosecutor having jurisdiction in the transferee's area of residence, or another person whose certification is acceptable to the Director, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. If someone has specific delegated authority to sign on behalf of the chief, the sheriff, the fact must be noted by printing the chief, sheriff's, or other authorized signature's name. So we're not just talking about the sheriff, and I really want you to clearly understand that other people signed the form besides sheriffs. Firearm here, and you heard it. You heard it by their testimony, what they're talking about as far as transferees. It includes the barrels as delineated by what the proponent said. It specifically says any other weapon is defined in 18 U.S.C. 5845E. 6, a machine gun. 7, a muffler or silencer for any firearm, whether or not such firearm is included within its definition. And then it says, or other destructive device. I know former Superintendent Landry understands other destructive device. To me, that means that it could be a bomb. So what you have here, and the reason I believe, and I understand why Representative Ivey brought the bill, and it can't be just an assertion about sheriffs, but they brought the bill, in our opinion, because ATF is going to come out with a new directive pertaining to what's considered to be a trust. And let me just briefly tell you what that means. The trust is used when the chief law enforcement officer does not sign off on the form. And ATF indicated originally, as you heard them say, that they may do away with this whole CLIA issue. They may do away with the local signature signing off on it, meaning that the FBI was going to do all the work for ATF on all these background investigations with no local input. In midstream, we believe that ATF changed its position, reverted back to what the NFA originally was, and said, no, we're going to, in line with this new executive order, review what we've done before with these trusts. The trusts are used when the local law enforcement head refuses to sign the certification or does not. The form itself doesn't have a provision. You either sign the form, that you're in agreement that the person who purchased it has no reason not to, or you don't sign the form. You don't do the certification. So they began to look for a way, with the supposition that ATF would do away with this trust on June 9th of this year, thinking that they had to scramble, and there was a long education process for me to understand what this means. Tara, Mika sat with me for a long time. I really wanted to get the information so that I can better prepare myself to tell you what it means. But these trusts that are used by these people who purchase these devices, the trusts are still in effect. It's anticipated that the trust will still be in effect in some form after this proposed rule change. It's supposition to say what ATF is going to do on June 9th. It's supposition. And there's also been reported to us that there's technical problems within this whole mechanism that ATF used, and the greatest likelihood is that you're going to go into next year, by January of next year, before something happens. So what I'm telling you is that you don't have to do anything now as the state of Louisiana on this federal problem. This is a federal problem. ATF, we hope, is going to fix it. You know, it's not like we as sheriffs or chiefs or others are standing in the way for a person who wants to make a legal purchase of a firearm. That's not our intent. We are really upset with statements that this is all politically motivated or has other ramifications pertaining to who should get it and who should not. You know, it would be for us that if ATF chose to remove the CLIO on their own accord, and the United States government would be solely responsible for this. The only thing that we would not like as local law enforcement is that we wouldn't have the notification as to who has these devices and who uses them. Having said that, I really respectfully ask that you defer this bill at this time, because we think it's unnecessary. It's based on the supposition of what the ATF is going to do, and we strongly object to the assertions made by the proponents that we have any other cause in this action but for to do the right thing for public safety. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sheriff, I wanted to ask a question. My good friend, Representative Ivey, did make the claim that there are exceptions made on individuals. I would like to know if that were the case here, who would be some of those individuals? Under what circumstances would you possibly make that determination for those individuals?
I wouldn't know what is the basis of his assertion to start off with, Mr. Burrell. I can tell you that we look upon these matters in a very serious note for the reasons that I stated before. You know, this is not about to deny a United States citizen, you know, his right in any way, shape, or form to bear arms.
Do you know of any of these silences that have been allowed to be granted to individuals that where they've signed off on? I guess that would be the follow-up question. Do you know of any that has been signed off on? They've been given permission. Different individuals have been given permission to possess them.
I'm sure that there are many. That either the sheriff or the chief of police or what is defined as the CLEO have signed off for.
Under what circumstances would that happen? Can I ask?
Based on the
that they would need these anyway.
You look at the certification process itself, and what we sign.
I guess I would like to know what the legitimate purpose for somebody to sign off on application for one of these devices.
We sign off on those when we state that we have no information indicating that the transferee will use the firearm or device described on this application for any other lawful purposes. And I have no information that the receipt or possession of the firearm or device described in item 4 would be placed in violation of state or local law.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we've discussed this and everybody has made up their mind, and I'm ready to vote.
All right. What's your motion? I'm assuming you're involuntary and defer, Mr. Honorary?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions, so that motion's in order. All right. Mr. Honorary has made a motion to involuntarily defer. Is there any objection to involuntary deferring HB279? All right. Hearing none, 279 has been involuntarily deferred. Ms. Norton makes a motion to adjourn. That's our last bill of the day. Any objection? Hearing none, let's go. Thank you, members. Long day, but we got our agenda completed. Appreciate it.